Hello everybody, my name is BigBlueEyes. Today I'm going to be trying something new that's caught my attention, and it's Am I the Jerk? I've kind of been delving into them more recently, and I've just enjoyed the storytelling and giving my opinion when potentially nobody's listening. So let's read some stories today. I'll probably do like 3 or 4 stories, with the last one being one that has been rated. Like I said, I just kind of like giving my own opinion about something without having like a deciding, like, this has already been set in stone of what people think. The first story I'm going to read today is Am I the Jerk for not wanting to have the body count discussion? Recently, my boyfriend Kyle, 26 male, has been asking questions about my past, like how many men I've been with in total and my different experiences. I always deflected that convo because I always see them ending in fights. Even reading through this sub, it happens all the time. Because of this, I told myself I won't be talking about that with any partners. Well, Kyle isn't letting it go, and today he gave me an ultimatum. He says that for him to stay in a committed relationship with someone, he needs to know about their sexual past, so he knows what he's getting himself into. I don't know where this came from because we've been dating for almost 6 months, and this only started happening recently. He got very upset when I told him I didn't want to talk about it. We were at my house at the time, and he literally just left and drove away. He still hasn't messaged me back, and I'm not sure what to do. I'm thinking of just telling him I don't like the fact that he gave me an ultimatum. So, my thoughts on this is that your past is your past. You can't change what you have or have not done. If you are comfortable, totally, that is something you could share. But you have said that you are not comfortable with this, so maybe he doesn't know that this is a common trigger for couples, I guess. But the fact that you told him that you didn't want to talk about it and he just left kind of is icky to me. Like, I wouldn't prefer that either. If I say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, and they just get up and leave, like, I don't like that. I'm gonna say that you're not the jerk. I think you should be entitled to know that the past is the past. Nobody can change that. Like, why does he, if it just started happening recently, why does he want to know? Like, I get it, 6 months, it's a semi-new relationship. Like, you're halfway through a year, congrats, but like, I don't know, that's just kind of icky to me. Top comment I'm seeing, you're entitled to your privacy. He is entitled to ask for this information. It sounds like you might be in an impasse. Reply, he's entitled to ask, just like he's entitled to ask any question he chooses to anyone he meets, but he's not entitled to an answer. Not the jerk. I've had a very colorful past and fully understand now how that might look to someone and how it might make them feel. So right at the start of any relationship, I just stayed up front that neither of our past sexual alliances have any place in our relationship. That also means that I have no clue what their body count is, but I don't care. What matters is how you feel about each other and how you treat each other. I would agree with that. I would agree that, yes, you can ask. You can ask, but if you don't get an answer, you can't hold that against them. I'm gonna also agree, like, not the jerk. The next story we have is, Am I the jerk because I told my brother he couldn't afford to have kids? Hi, I just wanted to share what my experience is recently. I, 25 female, have always been financially independent, working hard to build my career. My brother, 30 male, has 2 kids, 2 male and 2 female. And he and his wife have been struggling financially for years, probably because of their spending habits and lifestyle. They constantly ask for our family for help, And while my parents enable this behavior, I've always kept my distance. A few weeks ago, my brother asked me for $3,000 to cover some bills, claiming it was for the kids. He didn't bother to elaborate on what expenses, so I told him that he and his wife should have thought about their financial situation before having children. He exploded, calling me selfish, heartless, and saying I don't understand because I don't have kids. This caused a huge fight in the family. My parents are upset with me for not supporting family, but I think it's ridiculous that I'm expected to bail my brother out every time he makes poor decisions. He chose to have kids knowing full well they couldn't afford it. My mom says I should help for the sake of my niece and nephew, but I think it's not my responsibility to clean up their mess. Now the family is divided, and I'm being painted as the bad guy for refusing to help innocent kids. Am I the jerk? So my thoughts on this are that if the brother has been struggling financially for a while before they ended up having kids, we don't know a lot of information. Like, we don't know what their habits or lifestyle is. Like, were they planning on having kids? Some of this phrasing is interesting to me. Like, while my parents enabled this behavior, I've always kept my distance. That I don't know, but I don't know why. It's like giving me alarm bells a little bit. Like, I never liked my brother, and now I have a reason to not like my brother while we're adults. Like, that's most likely not the case, but that's what my brain is saying. Like, you've kept your distance. Yes, I agree that you shouldn't have to bail anyone out that you don't want to. You aren't expected to help everyone out, whether they're family or not. If they make poor decisions, they kind of have to learn from poor decisions. I dislike the phrase, you don't understand because you don't, etc. Like, you can understand and not have those same, situations. Like, I have kids, so yeah, I get, not being able to afford something for kids. That sucks. But, I don't like the phrase, you could never understand because you don't have kids of your own. You're not going to know the exact situation regardless of if you have kids or not. Like, my kid is going to be different than your kid. Just because someone doesn't have the same situations that you have doesn't mean that they can't understand or can't relate or can't feel empathy or sympathy for you. So I don't like phrases like that. Another thing is I dislike you're not supporting your family. You are supporting your family. You are supporting, your own household family. I think it's ridiculous when people say, you're not supporting family. They're your family. You have to do this, that, the other. I don't like that, because just because you may have a good relationship with your family doesn't mean someone else in that family is going to have the same relationship. Your parents are already helping your brother, and the fact that they are upset with you for not also helping your brother, I don't like that. I also don't like how you're being painted as the bad guy for refusing to help innocent kids. In that way, they're saying, you should totally do this because they're your niece and nephew. But at the same time, it's not that, if your brother can't afford food, can't afford water, can't afford electricity would be nice, but, if they can't afford the bare necessities, I would help them out, potentially, but at the same time, he wouldn't elaborate on what expenses he needs $3,000 for. You should be able, like, I get it might be humiliating to say, I can't afford this, I need help. But if you're just like, give me $3,000. Okay, what is this $3,000 going for? Bills. And that you just kind of leave it at that. They should be able to have privacy, but at the same time, if you need help, I think you also, like, potentially you need help learning how to budget. And that's kind of sad coming from me. I'm not the best at budgeting. But, like, if you are 30 years old and you are not financially well, where are your finances going? In this post, we are under the assumption that their spending habits and lifestyle is potentially why they're struggling. Does that mean that they need help budgeting for the month? Like, hey, we spend money on takeout food way too much. Okay, that might help budgeting a little bit. Like, that might help your financial situation if you realize where everything is going and cut back on what you can. Like going out for McDonald's every night for meals. Yeah, you get food, but that's not sustainable. Whereas if you, like, make groceries are expensive, but if you get groceries and you make meals, the meals can last you a couple days, whereas McDonald's is one meal. Unless you are like a coupon saver or something and you can get multiple meals, or like a box of chicken nuggets can last you 2 meals. Still, like, I'm gonna say that you're not the jerk for telling your brother that. I probably would have phrased it slightly differently because I'm a little bit of a pushover. I don't like confrontation that much. But I wouldn't have, like this post says, I told him that he and his wife should have thought about their financial situation before having children. I feel like that kind of just throws the problem in their face. Like I said earlier, we don't know if having children was in their game plan. We don't know what financial struggles they are having. So just, you are not the jerk for not giving your brother money, for not bailing him out. I would say you're kind of a little mean for how you went about it, like how you said it, but you're not the jerk. But there is an update. I wasn't expecting my last post to blow up like it did. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts and even the tough love. I thought things couldn't get any worse with my family, but boy was I wrong. After refusing to give my brother $3,000, my parents stepped in without telling me and took out a personal loan to help him get back on his feet. When I found out, I was furious. I knew this would only enable him, but what really upset me was how he spent the money. It turns out only half of it went to bills. The rest, he brought a brand new TV, a sofa, and all sorts of appliance upgrades, all because the kids deserve something good growing up at home. When I confronted him, he had the audacity to say, I didn't understand because I don't have kids, and that his kids deserve to feel normal, despite their financial struggles. He even called me bitter and jealous because I'm child-free, which is ridiculous. What really blew my mind was that my mom backed him up, saying everyone needs a little luxury sometimes, and told me I was being too harsh. At this point, I was livid. I laid it out for them. This isn't about luxury, it's about basic responsibility. If you can't afford to pay rent or utilities, maybe a new furniture or appliances shouldn't be your priority. My brother stormed out of the room, and my dad stepped in, saying, we're family, we take care of each other. I replied, family doesn't mean I have to bankroll his bad decisions. It didn't stop there. The next day, I kept getting passive-aggressive texts from my brother's wife. She said I was just a horrible aunt for refusing to help and accused me of turning my back on family. She even brought my job into it, saying I'm privileged because I have a stable, high income, and that I owe it to my niece and nephew to help since they don't get to have the same lifestyle I do. She ended the message with, "How can you sleep at night knowing my kids are suffering?" Suffering? They have more gadgets than I do. Yeah, after this update, that answers a couple questions for me. This answers the way their financial struggles kind of comes from, that it is very much they don't spend their money wisely. I kind of even more so say that you're not the jerk for not bailing your brother out. I disagree with the parents' decision on taking out a personal loan, to help him get back on his feet. You can't get back on your feet and live in luxury at the same time. At least, I don't think so. I don't see it that way. I agree with OP that you shouldn't be paying for new furniture, new appliances, when you can't pay rent or utilities. Some furniture things that I think are necessary, a bed, or something to sleep on comfortably, I think is a good furniture necessity item. A good necessary furniture. But I don't think you should be going out and getting a brand new bed, box spring, headboard when you can't afford to pay food and water. Yes, I get your bed might be uncomfortable. You might not even... it's just crazy to me that they are not struggling. At the end, the what would be sister-in-law says that her kids are suffering. They are not suffering. If you are able to unwisely buy new gadgets and new appliances and stuff like that, you are not suffering. Yes, you might have financial struggles because you are not spending your money wisely, but you're not struggling if you can afford new appliances. The top comment is, number 1, block your brother and his wife. Number 2, tell your parents that if they can afford to give your brother money, they don't need your money and will not bail them out in the future. Number 3, talk to a lawyer and write a will to make sure that your money goes where you want it to go. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a couple sub things that I would do. Before you block your brother and his wife, I would say, I am not the jerk here. You have a lifestyle. It is not the type of lifestyle I wish to be involved in. I am not going to pay you anything because XYZ. I would set this is my boundary. I'm not helping you because you are making financially unwise decisions. And then if they have anything to say about that, if they throw anything back at you, I would just say, I'm sorry. Or don't even say I'm sorry. You're not sorry. You shouldn't be sorry for this. I would set firm boundaries with them, saying that I'm not going to pay you money when you are getting money and using it unwisely. And if they have anything to say about it, say that I'm not going to be talking to you anymore. That if I'm not treating my family well, if that is how you see it, then you can consider me not family. And then, yeah, I would block them. I do very much agree with telling your parents that if they can afford to pay your brother stuff, that they don't need your money. That in the future, when potentially things go even further south, that you're not going to help them because they consistently chose to help your brother make poor decisions instead of getting him help in a conductive way. Just throwing money at this, money that you don't even have, by the way, because they had to get a loan, that's not helping the issue. It's just adding more fuel to the fire. But I do agree that you should tell your parents that they are already adding fuel to the fire and that you are not going to be helping them in the future when they realize what's going on. I didn't even think about the lawyer, like, writing a will. That makes sense. But yeah, this pretty much solidified my opinion on you're not the jerk. I potentially could have gone about it differently, but seeing the update, like, that's just kind of how it is. Alright, this next story is, am I the jerk for telling my fiancé I don't want my Temu engagement ring? This says, this was taken down from another sub, so I figured I'd post here with an update. My 25 female fiancé, 29 male, proposed to me a few weeks ago. It caught me completely by surprise, but we've been together for 3 years and things are going great. I was really excited and said yes. I really liked the ring when I first saw it. My friends and family all think it is stunning. It is an oval cut with diamonds across the band. I asked where he got it and he wouldn't tell me where, but that he got a great deal on it. I didn't think anything of it until yesterday we were in bed and I asked him if the diamond... I didn't think anything of it until yesterday when we were in bed and I asked him if it was a diamond or a moissanite. Moissanite? Mainly out of curiosity. I don't have a preference, by the way. He said that he didn't know and he would have to look it up. When I glanced over at his phone, he was in the Temu app. I asked him if he got it from there and he didn't respond. So I asked again and he responded with something like, "Does it matter?" And he left the room and ended up sleeping on the couch. I spent all night so confused. Today I decided to download the app and look up my ring, and I found one that looks identical. I found the exact ring and it was listed at $38. I am mad. He makes good money, $200K a year, and I feel like he could have shelled out some money for a ring better than one on Temu. Am I the jerk for telling him I don't want it? So my opinion on this is I dislike how you went on Temu and looked up the ring to know how much it was. Like, I understand, like, I feel like I need to know and stuff like that, but it was apparently a big deal. It was an issue with your fiancé once you found out that he got it on Temu. He slept on the couch. That tells me that he was upset at how you found out or how you learned that your ring was from Temu. And I don't like how you, like, went about to find out how much the ring cost. Like, would you feel the same way if he went to a jewelry store and bought one of the least expensive rings at a jewelry store? Probably not, because it's a jewelry store and not Temu. Would you feel the same way if he got it off of like Etsy and it was like handmade and stuff like that? Would you look it up on Etsy on how much that ring was? I don't know if it's because I'm just not picky. I'm a little picky, but I'm not like show-offy about my ring. For all of you that don't know, I am married, by the way. I have a band, pretty much. My ring does not have any big stones on it, and I like it that way. I wanted it that way. It's pretty, it's feminine, it doesn't need anything extravagant. I didn't need anything extravagant to know that my husband loved me. I dislike how the ring was gorgeous. Everyone loved it. And then everyone loved it, and then you went about would it matter to you if it was diamond or moissanite? Like, you said you don't have a preference, but if it's beautiful, I don't understand why I don't understand why it matters. Does it matter where it came from or the price? Because don't get me wrong, $38 isn't a lot. It is not a lot for a ring. I, to this day, don't know how much my husband has spent on my ring, but are you upset that he got it off of Temu? Because when you asked and he didn't respond, you asked again and he said, does it matter? What is the issue with the ring? It is beautiful. Does it matter where it came from or how much it costs? The only thing I could see is we often, because of how the world works, we equate monetary value to quality. So if it is a $38 ring, it might break. It might wear down easier. I could see that being a problem. That makes sense. But if you were mad that he got it from Temu, that's a little picky, I think. Little showy that you... I don't know. Update. After reading responses on my first post on Am I the Jerk subreddit, it got taken down. I was freaking out for a bit. He came home while I was FaceTiming a friend about this. I hung up with her and then talked to him for an hour or so. He apologized for sleeping on the couch and that he needed some time to think. He doesn't see eye to eye with me on my concerns about the ring. He says that he did research and it was highly rated. He said if the ring breaks, he will replace it, but didn't say it'd be a higher quality. I have people messaging me that the ring could be harmful to my health and that Temu has horrible standards for their jewelry and labor issues. So now I really don't want to wear it. He left and went to his brother's house. Usually I'd go with him, but things are just intense. Am I the jerk for telling him that I still don't want it? I'm glad people were messaging her that the ring could be harmful for her health. That is something I wouldn't have been knowledgeable about. But I dislike the phrase, he didn't see eye to eye with me on my concerns about the ring. What are your concerns? They're not listed. And like he said, he did his research. It was highly rated. People are saying that Temu has horrible standards for jewelry. I wouldn't know. I've never gotten, like, jewelry from Temu or Etsy or anything online. I haven't done that, so I don't really know. But I think it bothers me that you have concerns. You're not expressing what those concerns are. You don't see eye to eye with your fiancé about it, which is fine. You can have differing opinions about this, but the fact that, like, we don't see eye to eye about it, okay, then why? I am very much a talk it out, like, don't let anyone leave until the conflict is resolved. Like, if you need to, yes, get out of the situation, cool off, don't do anything drastic. But if you are both calm about it, he apologized for sleeping on the couch. And he said he needed time to think. And I think you should have time to think. Like, what are your concerns? For this, I'm going to say that you are not the biggest jerk in the world, but I'm going to say that you're a little bit of a jerk. You're, like, you loved the ring. The ring was very nice. What are the concerns? Top comment says, I don't know, normally I'd celebrate someone who didn't buy into all the engagement/wedding spend yourself into bankruptcy thing, but $38, I'm as tight as a duck's butt with money, as we say in the UK. But I'd spend a little more than that to at least get a band with a reasonably high carat gold and then save on the gemstones. Comment underneath that says, this reeks of a test whether OP is a gold digger. I'm also a cheapskate in certain areas and would not spend money on a crazy ring, but I would never think getting my fiancé a ring from a dodgy site which could contain anything from allergens like nickel to straight up poisonous materials like lead. Someone had replied to that saying, it seems these red pill gold digger tests are just men keeping men single. If you really don't trust her, break up. So she passes the test until next week when the ring gives her a rash. And then what? Congratulate her for passing the test and have her realize what he really thinks of her? I don't get how this was supposed to go well for them. I understand, like, their comments about, like, it's a dodgy website, could be like allergens, he could have spent more money. I understand that. My thing is if she liked the ring, if she truly liked the ring and said yes and wanted this, like, did she give him, like, parameters of, I would like this cut of gemstone, I would like a band, I would like this type of carat gold? Like, did she explain what she was looking for in a ring? Because I did that with my husband. I said, I don't want any big gemstones because I'm a klutz. I lose things. At the time, I was working in a daycare and I didn't want my ring cutting up gloves when I would change diapers. So, like, there's a lot of things that could have been different. I didn't know that Temu could potentially have allergens or straight up poisonous materials. I think that, yeah, if you get anything online, you need to be careful with it. Would it have been nice to go to a jewelry store and find a ring from somewhere in person? Most likely. Should you have spent more than $38? Most likely. My issue is that you liked the ring. If you didn't like the ring, I wouldn't say that you were a jerk for telling your fiancé you didn't like the ring and don't want to wear it. But the fact is that you did like the ring, and then you found out where it came from and how much it cost, and you were like, I could do better than that, I deserve better than that, and I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stick with you're the jerk. Let me down in the comments if you agree, or if you can sway me one way or the other. I don't know. I don't think I'm hard set on, like, I'm very much, you are not the biggest jerk in the world, but I think you are a bit of a jerk. Let me know down in the comments, see if you can change my mind. Alright, this is our last one, and I am still new to Reddit, so we'll have to see if the results actually say what I think they say. The title is, Am I the jerk for telling my husband I told you so and laughing at him when we got the paternity tests results? I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, 28 male, for 2 years and gave birth to our daughter 5 weeks ago. I'll try to keep this short so I don't waste your time with any irrelevant details. What happened was that our daughter came out blonde hair and pale blue eyes, while my husband and I have brown hair and brown eyes. My husband freaked out at this and refused to listen to my explanation that sometimes babies are born with lighter hair and eyes that get darker over time. He demanded a paternity test and threatened to divorce me if I didn't comply, so I did. After my daughter and I got home from the hospital, my husband went to stay with his parents' house for the first 3 weeks to get some space from me, while I recovered and he told them what was happening. My mother-in-law called and informed me that if the paternity test revealed that the child wasn't his, she would do everything in her power to make sure that I was taken to the cleaners during the divorce. I had my sister to lean on and help me take care of the baby during this time. We got the results back yesterday, and my husband came home to view them with me. I was on the couch in the living room, and he sat next to me, and we started reading the results. They showed that he was the father, and my husband had this shocked, kind of mortified look on his face, with his eyes wide as he stared at it. I couldn't help but say, I told you so, and started laughing at the way he looked. But my husband snapped out of his shock and got mad at me for laughing at him. We argued a bit, which was mainly him yelling at me, before my sister came downstairs and my husband shut up. After that, my husband went back to his parents' house to clear his head, and 2 to 3 hours later, my mother-in-law called to scold me about laughing in my husband's face, because apparently it was kicking him while he was down. She also left a couple of nasty texts, essentially saying the same thing this morning. I don't think I'm the jerk, but I'd like an outsider's perspective on this. Also, edit, since someone here asked in the comments, but I can't find it anymore, I have 0 history of cheating. You're not the jerk. Like, I can't even really explain in detail about how you're not the jerk. Like, does husband just not know how genetics work? Does he not? Like, you also try to explain to him that eyes darken or can darken over time, and he just didn't listen. He left. You had to take care of an infant for the first 3 weeks. Postpartum sucks. Again, for those who don't know, I am married. I also have a child. And postpartum sucks. Like, you cannot, like, this is, you are not the jerk for telling your husband I told you so. And you are not the jerk for instinctually laughing at him because he was shocked. You had 0 history of cheating. You've been with your husband for 2 years. You have a child. This just boggles me. I also very much dislike how your in-laws, specifically your mother-in-law, did not call to ask your side of the story or like anything. From what I've read, what I understand is that the husband went over to his parents' house, said, the baby can't be mine. The baby has dark hair, or has blonde hair and pale eyes. That can't be my kid. And your mother-in-law called you and immediately was like, if the paternity test is false, like if he's not the dad, we're taking you to the cleaners during the divorce. Rude. Incorrect. And just, what the heck? This is just awful. You can't see it, but I am smiling because of how stupid this is. Like, anyway, top comment. My husband and I both have dark hair and dark eyes. Our child, blonde and blue eyes. Has OP's husband never heard of recessive genes? Someone replied, husband skipped biology altogether. Someone replied, his mom wrote him a note so he wouldn't have to take that class, lol. Recessive genes, potentially. Like, just imagine his parents, one of them has like blue eyes or blonde hair, and they're just, well, I have brown hair, brown eyes, you have brown hair, brown eyes, our kid has to have brown hair, brown eyes. That's not how genetics work. I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, but I know that recessive genes are a thing. I know that babies' eyes get darker or they change colors. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a child fresh that has brown eyes or green eyes. I have only ever seen fresh children with blue eyes. Another comment. Not the jerk. Heck that guy. Not only does he not have the basic grasp of genetics, he threw a tantrum and left you immediately after having the baby to struggle with alone for almost a month. He's lucky all you did was laugh in his face. I agree. Like, imagine if you treated them how they treated you. Imagine, like, okay, if the paternity test results come back that you are the father, we're getting a divorce because you don't trust me. They would have hated that. Because they were so sure that that kid wasn't theirs. Like, that's just, oh my goodness. Someone replied to that. Also, in my opinion, he's projecting his own infidelity. Sorry that you're going through that, OP. Replied to that. This was my first thought too. Either that or he had been looking for a reason to leave because he doesn't want to be a father. He leaves when he thinks she cheated and then leaves again when he finds out he was wrong. Or heck, could be both reasons. Something definitely doesn't add up. Yeah, I don't see, if you had zero history of cheating and potentially even zero reasonable suspicions that you were cheating and your husband just up and left, one, that's just bad. Altogether, just bad. But two, that could look like he doesn't want to be a father, or he is projecting, or something is going on. There's no way that a good, decent man would not listen, up and run away, go to his mother's, and have his mother call you saying that they would take you to the cleaners if you got a divorce because the baby wasn't his. Like, I'm feeling there was a lot of lead up to that for the mother-in-law. Like, the mother-in-law, I feel like, was potentially holding some resentment in, not saying anything until this moment. And OP's husband just let her say that. Just let her, like, let her call, let her say that they're gonna take her to, like, that's ridiculous. And also, like, Mother-in-law calling again after finding out the husband was wrong. And just, you shouldn't have laughed at him. He was already in a low place. He was in a low place because he was wrong. And he wasn't listening. Like, that's just so weird. You're not the jerk in the slightest. And I'm 90% sure that's what all the comments are saying. I have not seen one so far that is like, oh yeah, you're the jerk. No, I'm not seeing one. Alright, well that's gonna wrap up this video of Am I the Jerk? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. If you let me know, please leave a like, comment on stories that you want me to read and share my opinion about, or comment things about these stories. Like, did you agree with me on not being the jerk or being the jerk? Let me know. Have a good rest of your day. I hope to see you very soon. Bye!